Spider-Man Homecoming is about Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, tries to balance high school life with being Spider-Man while facing the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. And what is with Michael Keaton playing winged characters like Batman and Birdman and now the Vulture? Anyway, so we got introduced to this Peter Parker Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War, and I loved it, and I wanted more. Like, my only, like, if I had to nitpick, I wanted more. It would be like I wanted more of Spider-Man. But then again, that movie wasn't about Spider-Man. It was about Captain America Civil War. So, but now, we've got an entire movie all about Tom Holland's Peter Parker Spider-Man. And I loved this movie. I wouldn't say I really enjoy this movie. I love this movie. Well, I don't know if I want to say the word love. Love is a very strong word. Let's go with I really liked this movie. I really liked this movie. I really enjoyed it. And I just realized something. I don't know about you. I know we all have different opinions, but for me, we haven't gotten a single good Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2 back in 2004. Now, I know there are people out there who like Spider-Man 3, who like the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I respect that. That's your opinion. That's your opinion, and you should stick with it. That's awesome for you. But for me, I didn't really like any of them. Spider-Man 3, in my opinion, was a clusterfuck. So many subplots and like characters and all that. It was too much. The Amazing Spider-Man was trying to be the Dark Knight. And it didn't really work because Spider-Man is such a colorful character, not a dark character, and a lot of that movie takes place during like the dark, like at nighttime, not at daylight, which is the tone was very misplaced. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, was a repeat of Spider-Man 3. So, in my opinion, I didn't like any of those movies. But finally, we have a good Spider-Man movie, or at least a Spider-Man movie where both critics and audience and the general audience, moviegoers, actually agree and like the movie. So, yeah. And Peter Parker, like Tom Holland, brings an emotional side to Peter Parker. Like, we get to see him him being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, helping out his the people in his neighborhood, stopping the bad guys, these criminals at the bank. You've seen it in the trailers. They all wear like the Avengers mask. And then him trying to get him getting a sandwich, and just being friendly. Like I said, just being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But he really wants that, but ever since the Berlin, Germany, the whole Berlin, Germany thing, he's been waiting for a phone call from Tony Stark, Iron Man, about like the next big mission, heroic mission. And he's been waiting for a long time, like years. Now the movies said 8 years later. So that's one of the issues about that I have about this movie. But they actually put out the correct chronological order timeline of the MCU. So yeah, because like it said 8 years later, and I was like, wait a minute. If this is 8 years later, then this would come out after Infinity War. Infinity War and Endgame would have already happened. So this movie fucked up the timeline, but they clarified it, and there you go. So, and like I said, there was one of the scenes that in this movie that I thought Tom Holland really brought his A game, like it was so powerful and emotional. Was like, I felt it. I felt him. Like, at the, Spider-Man, he's a superhero. He's a superhero. He stops bad guys. He saves the day. He's, being a superhero. But at the end of the day, he's just a kid. He's just a teenager, a teenage kid, and they really showed that in this movie. Like, in that one scene where um he's like, it really reminded me in the comics. It was the shot in the panel in the comics where Spider-Man, he had like all these debris like on top of him, and he's lifting the debris up off of his shoulders. He's struggling, and it was powerful and emotional and just wrecked, and I felt that in that scene. So yeah, and then going on to the Vulture. Now, one of the issues I have with the MCU is the villains. The villains aren't as great as the heroes. The MCU has amazing heroes, but their villains are terrible. One note, they have no character development. They're just there to be a villain. But oh my God, finally we have another amazing MCU villain, and that is Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Not only is he an amazing villain, but then there was the huge twist in the movie that made my jaw dropped and made everyone in the audience, back when I saw this movie back in theaters, like, it made everyone jaw dropped. And it was when Peter was picking Liz up for the homecoming prom or date, whatever you want to call it. He opens the door, and it's Adrian Toomes. It's the Vulture. Vulture is standing right there. His nemesis is standing right there, face to face. He's face to face with the villain, and the car, and also, and that car ride that the three of them went, and then Liz giving out all these details, and then Vulture, Adrian Toomes, he's like, Michael Keaton's driving the car, and he's picking all the pieces together, and he put all the pieces together, and it finally clicked. He found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. All thanks to Liz. I should say thanks a lot, Liz, but Liz didn't know. But Liz, she didn't know, so it's not her fault. But that was just, that whole car scene was just terrifying and very nerve-wracking. So yeah, just revealing that the villain of the movie is Peter's girlfriend, is the hero's girlfriend's father, is the father. Oh my God, that was that. And I loved Ned, like Ned Allen. Ned played by Ned Allen. Where'd I get Allen from? Who's Allen? Ned, played by Jacob Batalon. He was funny. I love Ned. Ned is such a great. These side characters are really great. And then Tony Stark playing the Uncle Ben role. I'm glad that this movie didn't really do the origin of Spider-Man. Unlike Batman v Superman, where, like, we get it. We know we get it. We've seen Batman's origin. We know his parents died. But we were like, before Batman v Superman came out, we were like, don't show us Batman's origin. We get it. And that's same over here. Don't show us Spider-Man's origin. We know his origin. Alright, he gets bit by a spider. His Uncle Ben died. And then he becomes, superhero. He becomes Spider-Man. Yeah, we get it. We get the origin, and I'm glad they listened to us and they skipped the origin of Spider-Man and just skipped Peter's origin and went straight to him already being Spider-Man. And yeah. Like I said, Ned was funny. I love Ned. He was so funny and so charming and so nerdy. He kind of reminds me of my friendship with my other. He kind of reminds me of my relationship with my friends, like my friendships. Uh, Geeks. We are geeks and we are nerds. Okay. Anyway. And then and the two things that the movie kind of did differently. Kind of did differently was Flash Thompson Flash Thompson and Zendaya's MJ or Michelle. And that I know in the comics, Flash Thompson is Peter's bully. Peter's bully. He bullies Peter physically, but in this one, he kind of he bullies Peter verbally, and I guess on an educational like academically. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind I don't really mind the twist, or the change in Flash Thompson. I don't really care. I don't mind it, and also Michelle Jones. I get it. This is supposed to be our version of Mary Jane. She's not Mary Jane. She's Michelle Jones. But these changes I don't really mind. One of the things I don't like about I didn't. So we're gonna move on to the flaws. One of the issues I have with this movie is like the Vulture is great, but like his other henchmen, his lackeys, they're just the Tinkerer and Shocker. I wish they had more screen time. I wish they were. I wish there was more of them, but Tinkerer is just there to build things for Vulture and the other guys, in the whole team, and Shocker's just there to be, I guess, the muscle. So yeah, and also this movie has a product placement, and that is Audi. This movie, it's so embarrassing, and like this movie has it was an Audi. Like it was it's so embarrassing that this movie has an Audi, like product placement. Like Spider-Man is driving an Audi car, and then Happy is driving an Audi car. Like, is this movie? It's like we get it. Like, is this movie sponsored by Audi? Not this movie, but like, is the MCU sponsored by Audi? Because Tony Stark was driving an Audi in Avengers Endgame. Like, what is with Audi and the MCU? So yeah, but if it really did feel like a product placement. It just, it's like sponsorship and all that. But anyway, that's all I have. Those are all my issues. Not that much if you really think about it. So anyway, if you've seen Spider-Man: Homecoming, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for taking your time and listening to my review. And I will please like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you in my next video.